The piercing shriek of grinding metal tore through the tranquil air of Willowmere shores, a sound so jarring it seemed to rattle the pines lining the lake. From my front window, coffee mug in hand, I watched a heavy steel post rise with relentless precision, piercing the undercarriage of a gleaming silver Mercedes G-Class. The vehicle's owner, HOA President Evelyn Hartwell, stood on her pristine lawn, her arms flailing like a conductor gone mad, her voice a shrill crescendo as she screamed into her phone for emergency services. She claimed her SUV was under attack by some rogue machine, her words dripping with outrage. What she conveniently omitted was that this chaos was entirely her doing. Parked illegally on my property for the 23rd time that month, a calculated act in her petty war against me. But to understand how we got here, we need to rewind a few months. 3 months ago, I inherited my grandfather's lakeside retreat, a weathered A-frame cabin built in the 1960s, nestled on the shores of Willowmere Lake. The property was a time capsule of simpler days, with a creaky dock stretching into the water and a canopy of towering pines that whispered in the breeze. Unlike the manicured estates of the gated Willowmere community that had sprung up around it, my land was unbound by their rules, thanks to a grandfather deed from the original owner. That legal quirk would soon become the spark for an all-out battle. Evelyn Hartwell, the HOA's iron-fisted queen, had ruled Willowmere for nearly a decade. Always impeccably dressed, tailored blazers and diamond studs, she wielded her tablet like a scepter, issuing edicts with a smile that never touched her eyes. When she first appeared at my door, her heels clicking ominously on my porch, she informed me in a tone polished to a sheen that I owed $400 in monthly dues, needed to submit any exterior changes for approval, and would face regular inspections. I calmly showed her my deed, explaining my exemption. Her smile tightened, and her eyes narrowed to slits. "Everyone contributes to our community's standards," she said, her voice icy. I assured her I'd keep the place tidy, but wouldn't be joining her regime. That was the moment I became her obsession. Her campaign began subtly. Notices arrived in my mailbox, citing my unapproved dock and a garden fence that allegedly violated HOA codes rules that didn't apply to me. I tossed them in the trash. Then things escalated. Piles of mulch and branches mysteriously appeared at the head of my driveway, which Evelyn blamed on confused landscapers. But her real power play came when she discovered my driveway crossed a narrow 25-foot strip of HOA-owned land, a right secured by a 1964 access easement. That sliver of earth became her battleground. Her Mercedes started appearing there, parked precisely to block my entrance. The first time, I knocked on her door, politely asking her to move. She flashed a saccharine smile, claiming she was on community property, and suggested I raise the issue at the next HOA meeting over which she presided like a monarch. This game continued for weeks. Every Friday, when I arrived for a weekend at the cabin, her SUV squatted in my path, forcing me to park a quarter-mile away and trek through brambles with groceries and tools. Neighbors offered sympathetic glances but stayed silent, cowed by Evelyn's reign. I'd had enough. I hired James Callahan, a seasoned attorney who specialized in property disputes. After reviewing my documents, he confirmed my easement was ironclad and Evelyn's actions constituted obstruction and trespassing. He drafted a cease and desist letter and delivered it to her doorstep. Her response? She parked there daily, even installing a camera aimed at the easement, claiming it was for community safety. It was blatant intimidation, and I wasn't backing down. I filed permits with the county and ordered a retractable steel barrier, the kind used at secure facilities, capable of stopping a semi-truck. The installation was meticulously planned entirely on my land, just beyond the easement line, and fully compliant with local codes. The crew arrived midweek while Evelyn was off managing her chain of boutique fitness studios. They embedded the post flush with the ground, painted it a glaring yellow, and plastered the area with signs: private property, authorized vehicles only, and warning, barrier system in use. Friday evening, I pulled up to find her Mercedes defiantly straddling the barrier line, as if daring me to act. Through her window blinds, I saw a flicker of movement. She was watching, expecting me to grovel. Instead, I pulled out my phone, hit record, and captured every detail: her SUV blocking my access, the bold warning signs, the vehicle's position. Then, With a press of a remote, the barrier hummed to life. The steel post began its slow, deliberate ascent, designed to give any driver ample time to react. But Evelyn wasn't in the car. The post met the Mercedes' underbelly with a groan, the vehicle shuddering as it tilted upward. Metal screeched, and the SUV's rear lifted slightly, suspended in a surreal tableau. Evelyn burst from her house, her face a mask of fury, her heels stabbing the pavement as she screamed at me to stop. "You're vandalizing my property," she shrieked, accusing me of sabotage while standing beside signs she'd ignored. I kept filming as she yanked at the car door, now jammed by the angle, and dialed 911, hysterically claiming I'd unleashed a mechanical weapon on her vehicle. Within minutes, two sheriff's deputies, Officers Daniels and Lopez, rolled up. Evelyn rushed to them, her performance Oscar-worthy as she recounted how I'd attacked her SUV with a hydraulic post, even squeezing out a few crocodile tears. Daniels, unfazed, turned to me. I handed over my phone, still recording, along with a folder containing my deed, easement records, permits, the cease and desist letter, and photos of Evelyn's repeated blockades. The deputies studied the evidence, their faces shifting from neutral to skeptical as they glanced at the tilted Mercedes and the glaring signs. Lopez inspected the barrier's placement, confirming it was on my land. Daniels faced Evelyn, his tone measured but firm. "Ma'am, you're violating this man's access rights and trespassing," he said. "The damage to your vehicle is on you." Evelyn's jaw dropped, her composure shattering. She sputtered about her HOA presidency, but Daniels cut her off. "That doesn't supersede property law." They issued her citations for trespassing and obstruction, warning that any further stunts would escalate consequences. Evelyn erupted, threatening to sue me, the deputies, and the barrier's manufacturer. She demanded their supervisor's name and swore I'd be run out of Willowmere. The deputies didn't blink. A tow truck arrived, but the driver took one look at the precariously perched SUV and warned it would require specialized equipment. $1,500, non-insurable due to her illegal parking. Evelyn's scream could have cracked glass. Neighbors, long silenced by her tyranny, began to gather, watching their HOA queen unravel on the curb. The fallout was swift. Evelyn faced $1,500 in towing fees, $1,000 in fines, and $8,000 in repairs for her mangled Mercedes. But the real reckoning came 2 weeks later at an emergency HOA meeting. Emboldened by her public defeat, residents aired years of grievances, her vindictive fines, her favoritism, her threats. The board, cornered by the uproar, called a vote of no confidence. It passed unanimously. Evelyn sat stone-faced as the verdict was read, her lips trembling. She stood, snatched her designer purse, and hissed, "You'll all rue the day you let this place fall to ruin." Then she stormed out, the door slamming behind her. The room exploded in applause. As for me, I finally reclaimed my driveway, the lake's serenity restored. But the story of Evelyn Hartwell's downfall became legend in Willowmere, a cautionary tale of power undone by hubris and a single, unyielding steel post.